end, it's really not about talent. It's about watching someone who thought they were above it all finally get humbled. And as far as Hollywood drama goes, this is the sort that not a lot of people can look away from.
So in the end, this isn't even about talent anymore. It's about watching someone who thought she was untouchable finally get knocked down hard. Because Rachel Zegler didn't just burn bridges, she set the whole industry on fire and expect it. Applause for it, and now she's facing lawsuits after the Evita scandal. Walking out mid-performance like a Broadway show is just another TikTok live. Fans weren't just mad, they were furious, demanding refunds, dragging her online, and asking the same thing. Who even is Rachel Zegler? Oh, just the girl who trashed one of Disney's most iconic fairy tales and thought singing off a balcony in glitter hot pants.
Zegler makes a sudden exit from the stage during Evita.
Would fix it? Spoiler, it didn't. She hoped Evita would be her redemption arc, but it only made things worse. Paid audiences were left staring at empty stages, while Rachel was outside belting "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" for free. To a confused crowd on the street. Meanwhile, her understudy Bella Brown walked in, took the mic, and owned the moment. People didn't clap because they were impressed, they clapped because the chaos was finally over. But this isn't even the beginning. Remember Snow White? The $270 million feminist rebrand turned PR?
You can't talk about woke Snow White film, exhaustingly awful, and then say, "Take that, you haters." But now she is hoping that the luminous Evita can eradicate the debacle that surrounded her recent Snow White in Disney's calamitous woke remake.
Catastrophe. Disney dumped another $140 million into marketing. And what did they get? A $43 million opening. A total faceplant. In China, it made less than popcorn money. Theaters dropped it. Audiences boycotted it. Memes roasted it. And Disney. They blamed Rachel. Because Rachel wasn't just the star, she was the scandal. The one who called Prince Charming a stalker, called love stories outdated, and gave side-eye to every fan with a camera. She mocked the OG fairy tale and turned it into a 2-hour TED Talk on why romance is canceled. No magic, no charm. Just lectures and lip gloss. Even Gal Gadot looked like she wanted to.
About the very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office. You know what I'm talking about.
Disappear every time they sat down for interviews. The chemistry, non-existent. The tension, palpable. And then Rachel doubled down again. Mocking fans, ranting politics, and tweeting "Free Palestine" in the middle of a Disney rollout while standing next to an Israeli co-star. Gail got death threats. Disney had to assign Rachel a literal social media handler. And still, she kept tweeting. She was trending for all the wrong reasons: memes, roast threads, boycott campaigns. At Disneyland, she even admitted to faking smiles for fans. Imagine playing Snow White and telling people you pretend to like kids. Like, what? And then came the final blow.
Came like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
The dwarf disaster. Disney originally cast real dwarf actors, till Peter Dinklage said it was regressive. So Disney panicked, fired the entire cast, and replaced them with glowing CGI blobs that looked like 2006 video game extras. Rachel called it progress, the rest of the world called it trash. Even dwarf actors spoke out. Peter's rich. We're not. And that's what made this meltdown so historic. Because for once, left, right, center, everyone agreed. Rachel Zegler wasn't Snow White. She was the storm that buried the whole kingdom.
An eyewitness tells E! News that around 15 minutes into the interval, it was announced that her understudy, Bella Brown, would be stepping in to finish the show.
People didn't walk away. They fled. No one sees a Disney movie for a feminist monologue. They want joy, not judgment. Rachel gave them a crusade, not a classic. Fairy tale magic. She turned it into a solo therapy session wrapped in glitter. and bitterness. Oh, and the apologies. As empty as the theater's copy-pasted PR fluff. I'm sorry you're offended, not I messed up.
Bella later said on her Instagram stories after the show, "Today really showed just how important swings and covers are within this industry. They are the pillars of a show. A proud day to be at Evita." Rachel is currently scheduled to return for the July 25th evening performance of the show.
Even liberal media stopped defending her. That's when you know it's not about politics, it's about character. And now, the final act. Rachel Zegler, who once stood inches from Hollywood royalty, now cries on a theater stage while Twitter roasts her eyeliner. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Try, don't tweet for me, Rachel. She's not the girl boss. She's not the hero. She's not even the villain. She's just the cautionary tale. It's killed Snow White. She torched Evita. She's
paying customers are waiting to see her on stage, and she took off and headed to a balcony where she could belt out Evita's hit song, Don't Cry For Me, Argentina, live for free.
getting sued, and Hollywood. Hollywood moved on. Hit subscribe if you're done with the Rachel Zegler saga. But here's what really sealed her legacy: the industry's silence. The kind of silence that's louder than any headline. Big-name directors who once openly praised her talent suddenly had nothing to say. Publicists avoided her name like it was cursed. Agencies that had lined up to sign her
I'm a white Latina. I hold a lot of privilege. It falls on my shoulders to open up the doors for the people who, or they're disenfranchised.
were now quietly removing her from their talent rosters, choosing instead to invest in newer, quieter, less volatile talent. And that's when it hit. Rachel wasn't just getting backlash. She was being systematically erased. It's one thing to fall from grace. It's another to be locked out of the building entirely. Sources close to Disney claimed internal meetings were held just to determine whether or not they could digitally edit her out of existing promotional materials.
Narcissist.
There was talk, serious talk, about minimizing her face in thumbnails, posters, trailers. That's not PR cleanup. That's damage control of titanic proportions. And let's not forget the merch. Oh, the poor Snow White merch. Dolls, backpacks, collector's pins, all sitting in warehouses, unsold, unloved, unwanted. Some retailers even slashed prices by 90% just to get them off the shelves. And still, nobody bought them. One store even put a Rachel Zegler Snow White doll in the clearance bin with a sign that said free with any purchase. Laughed and walked away. You don't come back from that. Meanwhile, other stars started to distance themselves. Gal Gadot unfollowed her on Instagram, silently but intentionally. Co-stars declined to mention her in interviews. Even former supporters started liking shady posts about her downfall. Hollywood can be cold, but it's never subtle. Then came the behind-the-scenes leaks. Whispers of diva behavior, demands for 5-star treatment during rehearsals, refusing to rehearse, with understudies throwing tantrums over lighting. 1.
Came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Okay.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Anonymous crew member said she talked about female empowerment while treating every woman on the crew like a servant. Another revealed she was more interested in fixing her eyeliner than fixing her performance. The irony was painful. And while all this was imploding around her, Rachel, instead of lying low, started promoting herself as an advocate for mental health. Inspirational posts, long captions about healing and emotional.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
Behind the scenes, selfies started flooding her socials. But they didn't feel sincere. They felt like a new script. The same fans who once adored her now saw every post as another act in the Rachel Zegler PR show. It was too late. By then, the Evita backlash was spiraling. Theater insiders revealed that multiple high-profile patrons had requested refunds and left at intermission. calling the performance hollow, arrogant, and an insult to Eva Perón's legacy. A major UK newspaper described her portrayal as a TikTok influencer playing pretend in glitter.
I'll assume is a love story just because we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
And trauma. Another headline read, "From Broadway to Bombshell, Zegler's Evita is a cautionary tale in narcissism." And still, she persisted. Instead of apologizing or acknowledging any missteps, she doubled down again. "I will never dim my light," she tweeted. "I am proud of what I brought to the role." The tweet got ratioed in under 20 minutes. Thousands of replies flooded in, comparing her performance to a school talent show and demanding she stop playing victim. At this point, even the media outlets that once championed her were done. Variety published a scathing op-ed titled "Zegler's Fall from Grace was a masterclass in self-inflicted damage." The Hollywood Reporter noted that she managed to make Snow White and Eva Perón feel unrelatable in the same year. That's not a skill. That's sabotage. And let's talk about that lawsuit. Yes, the lawsuit. What began as rumors turned into headlines. Fans who bought.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out for Men Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film.
Premium Evita tickets are now part of a class action suit, claiming fraudulent performance disruption and emotional distress. One attendee said, "I spent $200 to watch her sing to a street lamp. I want that money back and an apology in writing." The court filings argue that she knowingly failed to complete scheduled shows and that producers falsely advertised her full appearance. Her legal team's response: "She's doing her best." That didn't sit well with the judge. And behind closed doors, her inner circle started to crack. Managers left. PR firms dropped her. Sponsors disappeared. A skincare brand that once called her the face of youth quietly deleted her entire campaign from their website. Brands don't deal. In Risk and Rachel had become a walking lawsuit. Then came her now infamous podcast appearance. Against all advice, she joined a mental health-themed podcast and decided to speak her truth. For 90 minutes, she cried, blamed the media, blamed the internet, and somehow blamed her fans. She claimed people were threatened by her success, that no one understood the pressure of being the future of Hollywood. She even said Snow White failed because the world wasn't ready. They were ready, Rachel. They just weren't ready for you. The backlash from that podcast was immediate. Memes exploded. Hashtags like hashtag ZEGLER delusion and hashtag Snow White washed trended globally. It became clear she wasn't apologizing. She was rewriting her own downfall, hoping people would buy it as a redemption arc. But no one was buying. YouTube videos began compiling her contradictions. One popular video titled "Every Time Rachel Zegler Ruined Her Own Career" hit 10 million views in a week. Reddit had daily threads mocking her interviews. Twitter, or X, as it's now called, hosted literal countdowns. Day 87 of Rachel Zegler not apologizing. And then came the final blow. Disney executives leaked internal memos stating that future live-action princess roles would steer clear from controversy, activism, or outspoken social commentary. The memo didn't name her. It didn't have to. Everyone knew exactly who they meant. Rachel's name had become industry shorthand for "do not cast." And let's not sugarcoat it. This didn't happen to Rachel. She made it happen. Every red carpet interview, every smug soundbite, every time she mocked the original stories and the people who loved them, it all added up. She didn't just burn bridges, she napalmed them. Then tweeted about the flames, and what's worse, she learned nothing. She still walks red carpets with the same entitled smile, gives interviews dripping with self-importance, and posts like she's still Hollywood's golden girl. But behind that gloss, behind the handlers and the spin, the truth is clear. Rachel Zegler is done. Not because of one mistake, not because of online trolls, but because she never knew when to stop. She thought being a girl boss meant scorning everyone who made her famous. She thought fairy tales were beneath her. And now, she has no stage left to stand on. So here we are. The curtains have closed, the roles have dried up, and the audience has left the theater. All that's left is a name people remember for all the wrong reasons. Rachel Zegler, from rising star to cautionary tale. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you're tired of watching egos crash and burn on your favorite franchises. This was one fairy tale that turned into a full-blown horror show, and we were all forced to watch it happen in real time.